Alright, welcome to this new video. We are going to be looking at another challenge, and basically in this challenge we are going to continue with looking at arrays. Yes, so in this challenge I want to find, let me first read through the question, the instructions, and we see how we can solve this problem. So you make this challenge could make array consecutive 2. It's a coding challenge that deals with an array. Yes, we already know that. And in this challenge we are given an array of numbers, and we are to determine the amount of numbers missing in that array from the minimum to the maximum. So this is how it goes. Create a function, you give it an array as an argument. So look at this array 6, 2, 3, 8. So what we have to return is the 3, because remember we are determining from the minimum to the maximum. Remember, our minimum number here is a 2 and our maximum number is an 8. So in this challenge we have to determine the numbers missing from 2 to 8, and which are they. If we can look at this array critically, we can see that 4 is missing in this array, 5 is missing, and 7 is missing. So that's why we have to return a 3, because there are 3 numbers missing from 2 to 8. And those are 6, those are 7, those are 5, and the what, and the 4. Okay, so first of all, before we can proceed with this solution, one of the first things we have to do is first sort the array being given to us. Okay, because with that we can easily deal with the unsorted array. With the sorted array we can easily deal with it, but if it's not sorted, then there's no way we can then there we can make our life very difficult. So first and foremost, let us first sort this array being given to us so that we can have a sorted array from ascending order. So with that, having a sorted array can help us root through easily from the minimum to the maximum and find those numbers which are missing. So let us first sort this input array. So we are going to write input array.sort. We already know what the sort method does, right? We already looked at the sort method from the previous challenges we've been going through. So we sort, and in this function, the sort function receives the callback function that has that takes in 2 arguments, a and b. You can call it anything, but let me call it an a and a b. You can call it first num, last num, right? This callback function just returns, so return a minus b. So what does this mean when I pass a callback function that returns a minus b? So this will help us to return an array sorted in an ascending order, right? If you wanted a descending order, would have written here b minus a. This will give us an what? A descending order. But since we want to loop through the array from in ascending order format, then we have to write a minus b. Okay, if we are to prove that this is what it does, let us first test out the solution and see. Let us first console.log solution. We pass in an array. Let's test array and see if we will sort it in ascending order. 3 of 3, yeah, 1. Let me put a 20 here, 4, 4. Okay, so this has to sort this thing in ascending order. We try to execute. Try to execute this and see. Node make array constructive.js file. Wow, I'm getting undefined. Why? Because I didn't return here. Okay. You see, this has arranged this array in ascending order starting from 1 to 9. Right. So we tested out our function and it really works. Let us proceed. The next step, after sorting our array, what follows next? Having sorted our array, the next thing we have to do in this challenge, we have to look through this array from minimum to the maximum. So we shall use our for loop. But before we do that, we have to determine which is the minimum and what is the maximum in this array. So we have to create a variable. Let us call it minimum. So we shall access our input array at index 0. So that will be our minimum number. So the maximum number, const max, will be equal to our input array. We access the array's length. To access the last number in this array, we access input dot length, which will give us the length of the array. Length of the array, then minus 1. This minus 1 will give us the index of that last element. You put a minus 1 here, it will give you the index of that last element of the array. For example, this is the 8. To get the index here, I will get the length, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the length, then minus a 4, which is the 3. So this 3 is the index, because indexes start from 0, 1, 2, 3. So this will be the index. 3 will be the index of this last element of the array. Alright, so the other thing we have to do here, we have to create a counter variable. Let's call it const count. That will be counting the numbers missing in this array. Just initialize it to a 0. Initially it's a 0. So with these three variables, we can now loop through our array using a for loop. So for let I be equal to, so I will initialize our I to be a minimum number. Right, then I less than maximum the last number. Right, I plus plus. We are looping through the array from the minimum to the maximum number. Right, so in this for loop, now check and see if the input array dot index of I equal to negative 1, sorry, -1. So what does this if statement mean? We've written input array dot index of. Index of is a JavaScript function that helps you to find the index of an array, the index of an element of the array. Okay, so we're accessing our array and finding the index of a certain number in our array. Right, we're accessing a certain number of our array index. So for example, if we're having a 6, for example, we're accessing the input array dot index of. If we pass a 6 here, let us assume this is the array we are handling. If we pass a 6, it will give us what? A 0, because 6 at index 0. Right, so index of finds us the index of an element of an array. Alright, so remember we are looping through the array from minimum to max and accessing the index of each element in this array. and we are checking and see if it's -1. -1 will imply that this element of the array is not included in this. It's missing, as in it's missing in our input array. So if you put it to -1, it implies, yeah, it's true, this element is missing, or this number is missing in this array. Right? So if it's true, this number is missing in the array, then we have to increment our count variable, count plus plus. Okay, let us hope we've understood this if statement. If I'm to repeat, this if statement implies that we're checking, we're accessing each element of the input array and finding out its index, and then equating it to a -1. If it's true, it's a -1, meaning that it's missing in the array or it's not included in the array, then we shall increment our count variable. Okay. Alright, so that's it for the for loop and the if statement inside the for loop. Then here outside we shall just return our count variable. Return count. Alright, let us test out this and see by console.log, console.log, console.log. Let us test out this very arrow here, starting from 6. Copy and paste it here. So let us execute this file and see what we will get. So let me first clear this terminal. Control C, clear the terminal, and then we're executing node make array consecutive.js file. I will enter, then it has given us a 3 because we have 3 missing numbers in this array. I can add a 10 and a 20. We have 13 missing numbers in this array. Wonderful. So this brings us to the end of this challenge. Let me hope you've understood everything here. Okay, so we can make a recap. First of all, we sort the array, we rearrange the array from in ascending order. Then after that, we create 3 variables here. One is a minimum variable, including that stores our minimum number in the array. The max variable stores the maximum number of the element of the array. Then the count is our count variable, which helps us to determine the missing numbers in that array. After that, we loop through the array, and for each array and for each element we access its index and check and see if it's equal to -1. -1 means that the number is missing in the array. So if it's true, it's equal to -1, we increment the counter and then return it here. Okay, thank you for watching this video. I will continue to remind you to subscribe to this channel, you like and share, so that I can continue making these wonderful coding tutorials. Yes, I continue also to remind you to keep practicing these things. You have to practice because practice makes perfect. Yes, so you don't just watch videos and stop there, but go an extra mile, take an extra mile of finding out these things. Okay, so we shall meet in the next video. Thanks, bye bye.